Okay, welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone. Joined today by three lovely people. We don't have Lee, unfortunately, he's tied up with some things. However, we've got some friends of the show, if you like, and some Swansea fans with us. So welcome Joey, first of all, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, Joey. I've been on before. Joey is Swansea on Twitter. You can find me in most sort of Swans conversations on Twitter.
Yeah, always likes to get involved and get involved.
I really do.
Yeah, we've also got Jordan Webber back again one more time for another good discussion here. So welcome back, Jordan.
How are we doing?
Where can we find you?
Oh yeah, cheeky little plug. So my name would just be Jordan Webber 96. That's the same across all platforms. So yeah, just drop a little follow.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, Jord. And last but not least, from the Send Him Off podcast, we've got Sam. So welcome back, Sam.
Thank you. Cheers. If we're plugging, then
go for it.
Our Instagram is Send Him Off Podcast. Twitter's Send Him Off Pod. You can find us like Spotify, YouTube. Just search Send Him Off Podcast or Send Him Off. And we've got a little blog now as well, sendhimoff.com.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, I've not done a post for a while. I've been working, but I'm planning on doing one this week.
Well,
so
send us a link the next time you post, and we'll share it out. Hopefully, some people will get on there and have a good read.
There's another little. I think Sam's forgot to mention. If you type in Sam Freeman on Spotify, beautiful tones. So yeah.
Agent Weber.
Maybe you'll have to like sing a little jingle for us for a little introduction theme and ending theme.
I got to do our own first, Luke. Calm down.
Yeah.
We'll talk to your agent. We'll talk to Jordan later and see if we can
Agent Weber.
Yeah. Between you and me.
Okay, so I've got these lovely lads with me today. We're going to talk about obviously the big thing that's happened in last week, the transfer window. So me and Lee and Nikki were on you the other day doing a live stream, kind of like reacting live to the end of the window. But a couple of days after now, a little bit of cool down, a little bit of time to think about what's actually happened. Not just on deadline day, but for the entire window itself. It was a bit weird because it started off, what's Steve Cooper going to do? And finished off with how we're going to change this squad to play possession-based football. So a lot to think about, a lot to get through. So yeah, let's crack on. I just want maybe to start with overall thoughts of how you found the window. So Sam, I'll start with you this time.
Yeah, until about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I was ready to go to bed. And then sort of the rumours came in, didn't they, with Obafemi and Cham. Have I said that correctly?
I think so.
I don't know. I've only ever read the name. I've never heard anyone say it. But yeah, overall, disappointing to start, wasn't it? It's obviously going to hurt, like losing players like Roberts, and the Grimes rumours weren't going away even till the end. But I think overall, the biggest disappointment for me is not getting Fosu in. But obviously, if you counteract that with keeping Grimes, then you can't complain. So overall, I wouldn't say it's disastrous. We've had worse deadline days. I think we'll all agree that
definitely
as Swans fans. But I think we have probably also had better ones. I think a balance.
Okay, that's a good overview there. We'll discuss the Fosu Grimes thing a bit later because I think I might have caused a bit of a stir on Twitter with that. But Jordan, what's your take on the window then?
Yeah, to be honest, I agree with Sam, and obviously today it's come out now that we did offer a new deal with Connor Roberts, and Matt Grimes is going to be offered a new deal as well. So I don't know whether if that puts a different perspective on things in regards to the window, because a lot of people will be saying, why weren't they offered new deals? Why did they go for so little? For example, like Jamal Lowe as well. And the Lowe, I think, just didn't suit the way Martin wants to play. Like he's not going to be playing with wingers. So at the end of the day, if he's not suited to what Martin is trying to do, he's kind of got to go out the door. And we've replaced him with Obafemi. So really, we've replaced a player that's more suited with Martin. So I can't really argue too much about that other than the fee.
Yeah.
But overall, I think we got to look at it as successful. Martin's got his players in, the ones that he's wanted. Like for example, he's known led from MK Dons last season. We got rid of players who we just knew that we weren't going to keep. For example, there was money freed as well with the IU wages. So I think if there's going to be a disappointment, it's only because how little Lowe went for. Roberts is in the same category, but contract situations were very different. And it's the same with Sam, really, not getting Fosu in or just a general number 10. That could have added a little bit.
Well, I think Sham can play number 10, can't he?
Yeah,
I'd heard that, yeah.
Yeah. So whether that's the idea for him, I feel like maybe because quite stocked in central midfield. So the two sort of positions behind the striker that are kind of in between forward and midfield, because obviously tried Felton there. I think maybe he's going to be playing in that role, but Fosu obviously would have also added quite a lot, I think, in that position. So, but again, we'll touch a bit more detail on that in a bit. So Joey, what's your take?
Overall, very positive, I thought, obviously, I think everyone agrees that it's devastating to lose Connor,
Yeah.
I was very upset about that, but I can understand the need for him to go, and, he deserves that move more than anyone else probably in the squad, because he's just Mr. Swansea, isn't he? Over the last 3 or 4 seasons, he's been that person. Jamal Lowe, I think there was a little bit of he didn't necessarily want to be here, as well as not playing Martin's style, which I've said publicly. And keeping Grimes but not getting Fosu was probably it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Really, we all want to keep Grimes, and of the 3 who were rumoured to be going, you'd probably rather keep Grimes. Even though Connor Roberts is Mr. Swansea, you'd probably rather keep Grimes because he's the heartbeat of that team.
I don't know if
overall very positive. Yeah, exactly.
I'll probably get stick for saying that actually, but I think I said it on your podcast yesterday, Sam, that for me, like Connor Roberts, we all love him because he's a local boy, because he's come through our academy, and he is a good player. I'm not saying he's not, but I don't think like he's the sort of star player in terms of the quality and what he like. He's not the one that makes us win games all the time, week in, week out. Do you know what I mean? I think we can get another right back, and we might have already done so in Led. That can do a job just as well as Connor Roberts. It's just you're not going to get the same vibe because of those reasons I mentioned and the nostalgia connected with that. And that's understandable and that's fair enough. And I'm not here to slate him or criticise him. I want to make that abundantly clear. I'm just being real in terms of I think that's why it hurts a little bit more. But at the same time, I think he is replaceable, easier potentially than, like you said, Mark Grimes. Okay then, so Connor Roberts, we may as well stick with him seeing as we've started discussing him. Gone to Burnley, which I was a bit like, I don't know, just didn't expect him to go to a team like Burnley. I can understand why he's gone there. Maybe his long throw in, maybe his like his energy constantly running up and down the pitch, but maybe I thought like a Brighton or someone like that might have been more likely for Connor Roberts. But the fee is another big contentious point. Jordan, you touched on the fees. You also touched on the fact he was offered a new contract, which came out today. Now, I haven't actually seen that, so can you elaborate on that, just to maybe give that a bit of information out? We can maybe add it to the conversation.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm sure you all know Ian Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on that, yeah. So, about an hour ago, it came out saying that like Matt Grimes is going to be offered a new deal, and Roberts was offered a new deal. It's understandable why Connor would probably want to move on. At the end of the day, I do think he is a Premier League player.
Yeah.
Like a number of times, but Martin has sat down with him, and apparently this contract offer has been on the table for a while. It's just Connor wanted to put some thought into it, which is understandable because I think the local boy thing does play into that, because I think if there's any other kind of player and you had Premier League interest straight away, you probably go.
Yeah.
But the fact you've grown up watching the Swans, you're a season ticket holder, you've gone through the academy, it's a lot to think about. The fee, I mean, Burnley have done extremely well. And I know I mentioned about, he's in the final year of his contract. Burnley are the Premier League side, and they probably got some sort of money behind them. I don't care whether he's got 4 years left in his contract or a year left on his contract. Definitely squeeze some.
Put it into perspective, right? We signed Michu for about the same fee in the Premier League, and that was deemed bargain of the probably our best bargain ever, I'd imagine, one of. I'm not comparing because of the goal scoring aspect of Michu compared to like a right back, but he's probably capable of starting games for Burnley and a starting right back at Premier League level for that price.
It's nothing against Burnley. At the end of the day, they're a Premier League side, and I want to say established. I mean, they're a team who could finish 7th one season and then avoid relegation the next. it's a strange one, but I
Yeah.
always, and if he was going to go, he'd go somewhere a little bit more established, like an Everton or something like that. You know, I never fancied him to be like a top 6, but I always fancied him to be within the side that would probably challenge towards that sort of area, like a Europa League or something. Burnley's just a funny one personally, but he is a Dyche player.
See, to me, it didn't surprise me that much because I look at, like, personally, like you said, I don't think he's quite top 6 yet. Maybe not ever. Who knows? But I think like the kind of teams are on that area, like Leeds-ish, are sort of in that area. They've got Luke Ayling. Brighton, like you mentioned, I've got Lamptey. Burnley have got like Matt Loughton, I think it is. Who
He's
I look at
32,
that and
right?
I think, yeah, I look at that and I think they're pretty much the team in that area who need a quality right back. I think he'll start. He's already in my FPL team. So I think
really?
he's starting.
Is there bias
I think he's
behind that?
starting. No, it's because I brought in Ronaldo and then
And
we
he's
did cheap players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's understandable, I guess. I mean, how many people have tried bringing in Ronaldo? That would be interesting to know. How much does he even
12.5
cost?
million.
12.5.
12.5 million.
Is he the most expensive?
He
I
is.
mean, it's going to be difficult to get him in, but worth it probably.
Yeah.
Well, I got him. I had to do a lot of shifting around, but I got him.
I'm going to
I
have
played
to
my
look at my
wild card this
wild
week,
card
boys.
now this week, to be honest,
Yeah.
in the international break and tweak some things. But I'd be doing better on Super 6, so maybe I'll just stick to that.
I haven't played one of them yet. I need to get on it. Just keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on Connor then, Joey, while we're still at it?
Yeah, and I think I think both points that the boys have made is very valid. And I think actually you could see emotionally how much last season took out of him. Because we can talk about last season all we want, and we did that review podcast a couple of months ago. You know.
Yeah.
I think for him and Andre not taking that step took so much out of them emotionally. And I think
gutted, to be fair.
yeah, and I think he maybe looks at that and goes, do you know what, my career is short, I want to earn some money, which is fair, completely respect that. And also, could he deal with that heartbreak another year running if it does transpire that we get to the playoffs or we get to a place where we're pushing for more automatic promotion, you know? And for me, I feel like I have no bad feelings towards him at all,
No.
because he deserves it. He deserves it, you know?
Definitely no bad feelings. I think he does really deserve it, like you said, out of all the players. And I don't think anyone really... People are sad to see him go, but I don't think anyone is, like, angry at him going. It is, like Jordan's already mentioned, I think, just the fee. I think that's literally the only thing that's got people a bit riled up about it.
Yeah, and I would agree the fee is ridiculously low because that he is a player that can... He's not going to change games in the way that like a striker would, but he's still a player that can change games and he can have an effect on games.
Yeah.
And I referenced the Wales-Turkey game in the Euros, you know. He scores that last-minute goal because he runs the length of the field. And that's what Conor Roberts gives you. That's the sort of player he is. He gives his all. He'll run his legs off until he's in the ground, you know. Yeah.
No, definitely. I mean, we're never going to know the answer, or maybe we will one day, but not yet. But I do wonder how much of this low fee is going to be a chat of probably a couple of these transfers, and how much of that has to do with COVID. It's just weird because there's such a contrast right now between. It seems like this season more than ever, the big teams were getting these big players like Messi's moved, Ronaldo's moved, Mbappe nearly moved for like a massive fee. I know some of these were free, like Messi and Sergio Ramos, and there's a couple of others PSG managed to do really well with. But there's been a lot of big name transfers, Jadon Sancho to like Man United, Varane. Do you know what I mean? But then you look at like the clubs that aren't those big clubs, and it seems to be lower than it would normally be in terms of the money being spent. There's such a contrast there, and it's like the Super League clubs and everyone else, and it's
almost like COVID has distanced that gap between the haves and the have-nots even further. Right?
And that's worrying. And I think the lower down the league system you go, the worse it's going to get as well. And it might not even be. This might even be the worst window, like with the knock-on effect of COVID, and that's quite a worrying thing going forward. I'm playing devil's advocate as well to people who might be frustrated at this window for Swansea, it could have been a lot worse, especially after the year we've had with COVID and lack of funds coming in because of that. We stopped with the parachute money, and I don't think we had the worst window of selling players that we've had since we've come down.
No, yeah, I agree.
And we have spent some money. Like when we signed Joel Pirou, we were like the only one of 2 clubs that actually had paid a transfer fee for a player in the league. And I think that's little details that maybe we forget sometimes, or fans don't see. Maybe it doesn't always fit their agenda, but I think it is sometimes worth looking at the bigger picture. Anyway, go on, Jode.
Oh no, I was only going to say, like, if you look at what Lowe contributed to last season, I know he was very much divided between the fans. Like, not a lot of people liked him, some liked him. Me personally, I didn't mind him when he was played in position by Cooper. But 14 goals last season, he gets a brace in the derby, and you sell him to a fellow championship side for $1.5 million.
Yeah.
If COVID didn't happen, I mean, it's all well and good saying if COVID didn't happen. I mean, our owners have got a track record at the moment of selling players who are definitely worth something, let's say, and sell them for far, far less than what they are actually. They do have a track record of that, but COVID definitely comes into play there, doesn't it? I mean, $1.5 million for a 14-goal striker or winger, whatever he is. It's if you're bored, I think really on it.
You're laughing. And you transitioned me really well there. I was going to start talking about Jamal with the fees, so I'll get your view on it now, Joey. I was just going to say, for me, Jamal Lowe is worse than Connor Roberts because there's no 1 year left on his contract there. And generally speaking, clubs pay more for goal scorers. And I think 14 goals in the Championship that's a decent amount, especially for someone who isn't technically a striker. So arguably could be doing that from out wide. And that fee, as much as it's a profit on what we paid a year ago, it just seems low for, if he gets 14 goals again, that's still a bargain for Bournemouth.
Of course.
Of course it is.
You're going to add on to there, Joey.
So I was just going to say, it's interesting when you look at the low fee, that the low fee is exactly the same as the fee we paid Southampton for Obafemi, you know?
Yeah, it's just we need this to get this deal done, so...
Yeah, and it might be one of those things where they've looked at it and gone, we can get that money in and we can reinvest it straight away because we know we've got that deal on the table.
But we've also got a little bit, haven't we? Because Dan James went to Leeds and there was a sale. We pocketed a bit of that as well.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. So I do wonder if those two are linked, but in terms of, is it a low fee? Yes. Were there a lot of low fees paid this window? Yes. You know, we talked about Joel Pirou just a minute ago, and like him for £1 million now looks an absolute snip. You know, he's got 5 goals in, is it 4 or 5 goals in 6 games?
At the moment,
4.
Yeah, and
but his minutes per goal is pretty good. Yeah, because he started off for them as subs.
Yeah, you know, and like in non-COVID times, is that fee a lot higher? Yeah. Possibly, you know. So I do agree with the point that
it does work.
We need to look at those.
Yeah.
You need to look at it in context, right?
And Kyle Joseph, I think we paid a fee for him. He's obviously a hot prospect, and Wigan did highly rate him, but that was League One club, but quite a low fee as well. I want to get Sam's take though. You said about, is it a direct replacement for, you know, Lowe, this Obafemi? We were linked with him in January. We basically were going to bring him in until he got injured. So I think, you know, he's been on our radar, but like Jordan mentioned earlier, Lowe didn't necessarily suit the new system. We're not playing wingers. We've got rid of him when he was playing out of position as a striker. That's what he was doing. And now we brought somebody in who is that position for the same fee, who is kind of also highly rated. So, Sam, obviously you do some stuff on the Premier League. I'm not sure how much you might know about Southampton, but what do you think in terms of comparing the two? Are we coming out of this better off, basically, is what I'm asking.
I know a couple of Saints fans, and I've been speaking to them and stuff, and I mean, a lot of people, and a lot of Southampton Twitter, I've seen a lot of it the last few days, have been like, why have we let him go? Some questions over the attitude I've seen of the player, but I mean, we'll see. For me, though, he seems to be the type of player who just needs that kick. Just needs that kick off. Like, he scored a goal, I think it might have been his debut, like early on in the Premier League, and everybody sort of like went, this kid's special. Then he had like one cap for Ireland, and since then he's just not really played.
I didn't even know he was
if you look
Irish.
at-
Is he Irish?
Yeah, if you,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got one cap. Yeah, apparently. But like, you look who he's got ahead of him, or had ahead of him at Southampton. You got Ings last year, Shea Adams, even the likes of Shane Long going back a couple of seasons. The guy's not going to get in the team. I just think he needed a move like this, be it permanent, be it on loan, just to sort of kick him off. And we might see it. I really think it could be a neat little deal.
Yeah, and that point you made about getting in the team ahead of these established players is exactly what happened to us in the Premier League with the likes of Ollie McBurney. And we come down, and all of a sudden they're all our first team. But not many of them actually broke into the first team in the Prem. Connor
Roberts.
He nearly did, but not quite.
And James as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
made his, I don't think he made his debut in the cup match against
Not County, wasn't it?
Yeah, that we beat them like 8-1 or something. And then
he scored a goal, didn't he? He scored a goal after he came on. Yeah.
Carvajal gave him his debut. Who would have thought?
Nice bit of trivia, that.
Yeah.
We were trying to work out the other day, me and the boys, who, after this Ncham fella signed, who was the last Frenchman to play for us.
Was it Tabanu?
I thought it was Tabanu. Then someone else went Gomis, and I was like, they're the same season, weren't they? But wasn't Kalulu French?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yes.
I think it was Kalulu. But that's a nice little trivia.
Yeah.
But also, we then said he was the last Spaniard to play for us, because like we used to have so many Spanish players, and I can't remember who the last one to play for us was.
Mesa.
Was it Rocky Mesa?
Mesa, yeah.
Mesa or Rangel, wasn't it? Because Rangel retired that season as well. So
That's mad, that is.
Yeah, actually, because Mesa went on loan in January, so it would have been Rangel.
Rangel maybe.
Have we had a Spanish player since we've come down?
Don't think so.
Silence is...
someone will know. Someone on Twitter will know.
There we are, comment section. Who was the last French player? Who was the last Spanish player? Who was the last Gambian player? Oh, well, there's only one in there. It was Barrow.
Of our own.
Anyway, so we've done Lowe, we've done Roberts. Who else went out on deadline day? Oh, my mind's gone blank right now. Was there anyone else?
Carl Joseph went on loan, didn't he?
Yeah, Carl Joseph went on loan. Ollie Cooper went on loan. Yeah, Ollie Cooper. I think that was it really for deadline day. So let's talk about the other big bit of news in terms of someone who didn't go, and that's Matt Grimes. We didn't get in potentially another player as a result, Fosu. Is that how you say his name? Fosu?
Yeah, Tariq Fosu, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might have referred to him in the live stream we did the other day as Fosu Mensah, but he's the guy from Man United, and I got him mixed up. So, just clearing the air on that one. Yeah, so for me, and I put something out on Twitter, I don't know if any of you saw it, but I just said I didn't understand, and some of you might have this view, some of you might not. It'd be good if you do, because you can debate it with me now, but I don't understand how we can be disappointed at keeping Matt Grimes because we didn't get a player in on loan, basically. It doesn't matter who the player is. I was just saying, like, he's your club captain. He's probably played more games than any other player for the team in the last 3 years, because he was player of the season the first year under Potter. The 2 others he's been captain. So how can you go out and say, do you know what, I'm gutted that he's not gone because it means we haven't got Fosu for a year on loan from Brentford. Bear in mind, as much of an exciting player he would have been, he didn't really start that awful lot for Brentford last year, I don't believe. And his stats were something like 5 assists and 4 goals. So, considering he's coming in to add this creativity, he didn't set the world to light for Brentford, and they went up and they had, like, perhaps the best attack in the league last year. So, it doesn't mean he's going to come into this system and be crazy good. He might have been, we don't know. But I just don't think that risk, for me, it's like, right, yeah, we'd let Matt Grimes go because we get this guy in for a year. It could not have worked out, and then what a waste. Gibbs White got injured straight away, we hardly saw him. Jordan Morris got injured straight away, we didn't see him. Areola kicked the ball and then went back to America. So that's 3 loan signings last season. Gyökeres, that's 4. That didn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
So why would you take the risk
Let's
of
not
selling
talk
your
about
club
him.
captain?
Let's not talk about him. Less said about Victor Gyökeres, the better for me.
Well, we've got a bit of a bee in your bonnet with that one, have you?
Oh, he was horrific for us, wasn't he? He was awful. I think he's one of the worst. I think he's one of the worst signings we've ever made. And I say that with my chest, and we've had some shockers.
Does he go in line with Alvaro Vasquez and Ite Schechter, though?
Diane Gog as well. He's in that bracket.
Yeah.
And those guys, like, thanks for the memories at Stevenage, but time to go, like, it's... it's not...
Thanks.
I was like, he's a topic that, we basically alone.
Yeah, we'll breeze over that one.
Anyway, yeah, Matt Grimes then. So, Sam, you can start us with this one if you want.
Yeah, well, I said it last night. When obviously you and Jordan came on ours, I would have preferred, or I will prefer, to lose Grimes for free next summer, even if it's to Fulham, than to have lost him for 2.5 million yesterday. I think because Fulham are going up. Let's be honest. Bar any disasters,
they don't need
Fulham
him.
are up.
They don't need him.
Did Zambo Anguissa leave? Because there was rumours he was going to Napoli. So if he left,
I think he went to Napoli. Yeah.
So if he left, then maybe Grimes would have played. But I think they're going to be Premier League next year. If they go after him next year, then they're not a rival really. Because I can't see us going up. With all optimism included, I would be very, very surprised if we went up. Given everything has happened, but they're not a rival next year really. Let him go for free. If he has a good season with us, steadies the ship under Martin, I think leave him go if he wants to go. But obviously, there's talk of a contract now, which that would be the best signing of the year.
Yeah.
Forget Pirro, forget everything.
Yeah, sometimes I think the player can pay the fee that we didn't receive by playing well, like being an integral part of the team. That you pay a fee for a player to be part of your team. You don't pay a fee for the player all the time with a view of selling him on down the line. Do you know what I mean? You buy the player because you buy him for the team. So that's the primary use of buying a player. I know sometimes you might invest in youth with if they do well, it is going to be a money spinner for us, and that's realistic for clubs further down. But when he's risen up the ranks to be at the level where he's now club captain, and the manager's literally said he wants to put him in the middle of the team, build the team around him, and he's so important to how he wants to play and would love to keep him, then sometimes I think that overvalues 2.5 million. If it was 20 million, maybe it's a different story, but it's just not. So
thing is, we wouldn't see any of that 20 million reinvested, let's be honest. So I'd probably be sat here saying the exact same thing. But that's a one for another day, I think.
Yeah. So any more on that then, George, of anything to add?
I have to go back onto one topic which Sam brought up, which is Zambo Anguissa. Can we just talk great his agent is? Because since he's moved to Fulham, he's played a season in the Premier League, got relegated, gone on loan to a European club. Fulham get promoted again. He's all of a sudden back in the side, gets relegated, gets a new contract. He's got the best agent ever.
But isn't as good an agent, right?
Jordan, sorry, I raise you, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting.
I was literally going to say the same thing. I was going to say, maybe it's the same guy. Maybe it's the same guy. I don't understand how that guy's gone from getting relegated with Stoke and looking awful at Stoke to playing for PSG and Bayern Munich.
Mental.
But with Matt Grimes, the thing we're actually talking about. Sorry, boys.
That's all right. I love a little bit of a spin-off. It always makes it interesting.
It's one of them, isn't it? Like me personally, would have I even considered 3.5 million for Grimes? No, absolutely not. And the thing is, even if we lose him for free next summer, let's say just a scenario, I'm not expecting playoffs, but let's say he scores the winner in a playoff final. That's 90 million he's bought us there. I'd rather get £1 than have the risk.
And he nearly did that last year, because didn't he score in the semi?
Scored in the semi. Yeah. But if he does somehow happen to sign this contract, then he's obviously straight away automatically going to be worth a little bit more than that 3.5 million. So even if we fail at going up this season, which to be honest, I'm not expecting, I'd probably say this season, as we all said yesterday, is a transition season. Yeah. We probably look at this, if we get top 10 or whatever, we have to look at that as successful considering what we have on offer at the club at the moment. If he goes for free then, fine, no problem. 3.5 million, losing him to Fulham. I just wouldn't do it. Get the extra season out of him, to be honest. And
yeah, definitely. I think if the club really, I've seen some people being like, "Oh, I can't believe we not had the money. We need the money. We should be taking it." Same people would be crying then when they're selling their players for cheap, but whatever. The point is, I think if the club needed that money right now, then he wouldn't be here right now. If they needed that money, he wouldn't be here. But we sold other players. We got a little bit of bonus money when Dan James got sold, and they must be fine for the time being, or somebody else would have gone. Let's be fair. We know if they needed money, someone else would have gone. So I'm guessing they didn't need that 2.5 million right now.
If we needed money, I'd be in centre mid next Saturday.
If we needed that money straight away, there's no way we'd be offering Connor Roberts and Matt Grimes a new deal.
No.
It's a good point.
It just doesn't like that. If we haven't got money, then we just snap your hand. You know, Fulham would have looked at that and gone, they got no money, and potentially would have offered less, which they did to start with, and we kept on saying no. So there's money there. We don't, like exactly as you said, we don't need it right now.
Yeah,
but we don't need it now. Sorry.
That says to me though that Russell Martin was okay with Connor Roberts leaving. He was obviously okay with Jamal Lowe leaving. I think we all knew. He didn't suit the system, but I think he was okay with it. Which for me, I'm not worried about losing Connor now. I know you said earlier like he's replaceable and stuff ability wise, but obviously I think Russell Martin brought in Ethan Laird because he knew Connor Roberts was going.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I trust it. I do trust his judgment. If he said I want to keep Grimes and the board have backed him and they've said right, we'll keep Grimes, and obviously Martin was happy to let Roberts go and happy to let Jamal Lowe go. We've got to trust him on that. It's his squad at the end of the day. It's a new system.
Yeah.
He knows best.
To be fair, right? He hasn't been here. Reece, that's the one that came in yesterday. I forgot about him.
Reece Williams.
We haven't been here long. Yeah, he hasn't been here long even. And they have brought in a few. I know people have gone, but they have brought in a few players. When we look at the outs for this season, it's a bit skewed because you've got like Freddie Woodman, Mark Ehe, and Conor Hourihane who left, or like loans ending. Loans. Yeah. If we got loans, they're always going to end. So it's a bit like, I don't know whether you can really include that in the transfer window as a loss because they went last year because their loan ended. I think it's only a loss when we don't replace that position.
Yeah, agreed.
100%.
Then you had like Andre Ayew was the big one. We all knew that was coming though. Then you got Kieran Freeman, Barry McKay, and Declan John who all went on a free. Like, you know,
I would have driven Barry McKay out to Swansea.
Wayne Routledge retired.
I would have given him a lift. I would have paid for his Uber.
He's in Scotland somewhere now, I think, or looking for clubs up there. Wayne Routledge retired, and then you've got George Byers. I was a bit concerned about his going on a free. I don't really understand that, but anyway, that's another one.
Yeah.
But then it's only really Roberts and Lowe in terms of like selling from what we still had.
Yeah.
So it's not like when you look at it like that, I don't, and then you look at who we brought in. So it was Joel Pirou, Kyle Joseph, I know he's on loan now, Liam Walsh, Flynn Downs, Ethan Laird, Jamie Patterson, and Reece Williams, with Pirou, Walsh, and Joseph coming before the manager. Although Pirou is clearly part of the plans. Can't say much about Walsh yet because he hasn't really kicked a ball. And Joseph is definitely obviously one for the future. So I think like they've definitely supported him. I think you can't say they haven't really supported him, and keeping Matt Grimes as well as a statement. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things to pick up on that. Like Sam said, backing the manager comes from both the club and the fans. If Russell's made a decision that a player is saleable, then we have to back his judgment there because he is the manager currently. And it's very strange when you talk to some people on Swans Twitter who were so like get Russell Martin in last year, and now that like we're trying to build something. This is really I don't want to lose games. Well, you're going to lose games. Just accept it.
The one that annoys me is the sideways backwards passing. It's like, well, hang on, you spent all Cooper's reign asking for us to keep the ball more. Part of keeping the ball is by spreading it out around the back because you get the other team moving, which creates the gaps. It's always going to happen if you play possession football. And it's a stat for them people who think passing sideways and backwards is boring. Man City made the most backwards passes in the Premier League last season, and they won the league.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a very good point.
I'm not saying they're going to win the league, but
I know it'll be wrapped up by March now. Don't worry, we'll come back.
What Fulham will wrap it up.
Nah,
I think.
Do it.
Yeah, there's also a very good point about what Jordan said about Russell saying that he wanted to keep Grimes and he wanted to build a team around him. How nice is it to have a manager in now who's showing some backbone, showing some commitment to talking to the fans and giving a dialogue of what he thinks and what he wants to do? You know, we didn't really have that under Cooper. People can say that he was open, but he wasn't as open as Russell Martin is. And that's a big positive, I think, for players coming in, for keeping players, you know, because they're all involved in that dialogue then.
I look at Martin's business, and I think that Reece Williams is going to be his best bit of business, purely because the way Martin wants to play, it's building from the back, isn't it? You know, it's very much like the Loudra Potter style of play. Even Rodgers, you know, is building from the back, neat and tidy pass. What Swansea were well known for. Since Guehi has gone back and obviously gone to Palace now, and obviously I wish Guehi all the best. Like, he's a brilliant player. We haven't had a centre back so far this season that doesn't really look 100% comfortable on the ball. This Reece Williams, he made 19 appearances for Liverpool last season, 5 which came in the Champions League, which is why I'm really surprised that we managed to get him. I thought if he's going to go on loan, it would be like they've already been mentioned, it would be like a Brighton or something like that. Yeah. I'm surprised Potter, the way Potter plays, didn't go for Reece Williams. So I think he'll make a massive contribution to the way he wants to play. And having a ball-playing centre-back might help Bender's cause as well. So I think that's going to be our best bit of business. I know Pirro is proven to be the best at the moment, but I think in terms of having that little bit of a spine at the back that can play football, I'm not saying none of our centre-backs can, but let's say just that bit more comfortable on the ball, I think is going to be our best signing this season. I think it's going to prove to be the best.
And you mentioned Guehi, that's kind of a direct replacement as much as you can get. We mentioned the other loans. I know we didn't get a goalkeeper in, but Horahan, midfielder, we weren't necessarily all singing his praises by the end of the season, but we brought in Walsh and Downs that potentially do the job that we were asking Horahan to do a little bit better, because he was probably getting played out of position. So I don't want to. I'm not here to like bash him now, but you know, we didn't think he put in the best shift when he was here. So I think like Downs, especially because we've seen more of him, I think he can definitely do that central role a little bit better than what Horahan was giving us.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point about that, but like I think again, Horahan was kind of hung out to dry by Steve Cooper, because Steve Cooper was not playing him in the position that he wanted to play it in. He's telling him, you have to play this style of football, and then all the fans are getting on his back, and that's really hard. And that's where Russell Martin's so different, you know. Like when Flynn Downs came in, he was like, okay, yeah, you know, he's going to be a work in progress, but he's going to be the player to play there, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting you compare them though, like Cooper and Martin. Like we said last night, I can't remember who said it, but we said like a lot of like our signings under Cooper, like Cooper was the pull, you know, with the loans, like with a lot of England. I can't remember who said it.
I think it was Jordan.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was Jordan. And then we were talking about how Swansea, the club, seemed to be the pull now. People are signing for Swansea rather than for Steve Cooper, because like I think I said last night, Obafemi, Blackburn were there a couple of months ago, and he told them where to go basically, and now he's with us. So I think, you know, that's only a good sign.
It's basically with Steve Cooper, like you look at his signings. I mean, don't get me wrong, they obviously very good signings, but name a few: Brewster, Wilmot, Guehi, Woodman, Gallagher. These are boys that he's already managed. So the pull for them wasn't necessarily Swansea City. The pull was Steve Cooper, and obviously he had other little signings here and there, but the signings that he made, not if they weren't an England international, none of them really stood out, did they? There weren't a lot of players that stood out.
No, I agree.
Yes, he had them on loan, which he already knew. Now I feel Martin's obviously a work in progress. This isn't something that's going to work overnight, but I feel like the project that Martin is putting together is a far more appealing project than what Steve Cooper could have.
And it looks more long term, because we're not relying on all these loans. So like you can maybe get behind the like vision for the future more, rather than like, you know, between Steve Cooper's season 1 and 2, it's like, right, we lost these loan players. How are we going to fill that gap? Luckily, we managed to do it, but you can't do that every time.
No, you can't.
I don't know how the hell he would have managed this year, but I think that's why he went. I don't think it was. People said like, oh, it's to do with like, he wants a bigger job. I think he was interviewing for the bigger jobs, but I think he thought
He
like,
needed the money
I'm
to get
out-
a promotion.
I'm out to people, but like I don't know who to call. I'm not going to be able to do this again. I'm not going to be able to replicate what I've done before, and I don't fancy not succeeding. And I think he went, I'm out, boys. And
Yeah.
I honestly do.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
When you look at those like England under 17 boys that he had at the World Cup, right? I mean, Latipo, he brought him here.
Yeah.
You know, he's not exactly going to get Foden and Sancho on loan, is he? I mean, he's run out now. He's run out of all these like players that he knew, and I'm not saying Cooper couldn't bring other players here because he did.
Yeah.
Bidwell, Kalulu.
Are you?
Kalulu
Kept
had.
Ayew.
Yeah, he managed to keep Ayew, but part of me does think that was because there weren't enough suitors for Ayew.
He kept Baston
Yeah.
for half a year, and that was a bit of a weird one. It looked like he was going to keep him and then didn't use him anymore.
Yeah,
But that first half of that season, Baston was
And that's a bit
On
weird
goal
because
quality.
we needed
Unreal.
a striker as well, and it was like,
Yeah.
I know we got Brewster afterwards, but he just decided that like maybe like November he was like, nah, not using you anymore. It's
Yeah.
like, you can go now. It's like he's
I
got
feel
like 9
I
goals
felt
today.
bad for him, but, like, he deserves so much better, that kid. He really did.
Yeah,
Lulu was just weird. I mean, he had an amazing 45 minutes against Huddersfield, kicked someone up and left. You know, like it was just weird.
yeah.
But I Cooper is just a strange one. I think we've definitely got an upgrade now with Martin, especially style of football, 100%. That's nothing bad against Steve Cooper. He might eventually get his Premier League job when Arteta goes. He might eventually get it. But Martin, it's a huge upgrade. By the way, if there is any into this, I'm not serious about Steve Cooper going. So don't worry.
To be fair, mate, he can't be worse than Arteta.
Don't make him any more depressed, Jesus.
I just want to say, when I said the ins list, I actually didn't have Obafemi and Sham on that list. So another 2 to add. So we got a lot of players in. But then speaking of Nsham, I don't know much about him. So has anyone got anything to speak about when it comes to Nsham, the next French
I haven't really
player
got a
to play
lot
for
to say
Swans?
about him, but
One of my mates, close mates, he loves Celtic, right? I mean,
okay.
first team, but he just really likes Celtic. It's a very mixed opinion. Basically, like, there's a lot of fans. There was some Celtic fans that replied to me when I mentioned Ncham, and they said like he's going to show some interest first few games. If it doesn't go his way, his attitude is stinking. But you don't know that, do you, until he comes to your club? It could have been a different region of Celtic, and apparently when he went on loan to Marseille, Villas-Boas didn't want him, and then Villas-Boas lost his job. And it's like, right, okay, has this guy actually got an attitude problem? But on the flip side of it, he has apparently got the ability just to turn it on straight away. If he wants to, he will.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, it kind of sounds like a Leroy Fer a bit, doesn't it? Fer always had the ability to switch it on whenever he wanted, but if you weren't interested, you could clearly see you weren't interested.
He wouldn't have signed the deal
I
if he
thought-
wasn't interested now, so it's, I guess, how Russell Martin keeps him on board.
I saw Nsham described as a B-Tech Paul Pogba the other day. In terms of like, not necessarily like ability wise, but like in terms of like when he can be asked, he's on it. Like, but I don't know. I just think like you got to look at it in context. Of people saying attitude problems. Like Celtic, they've had a rough couple of years, haven't they? Really, you're playing in our side. Are you going to be that?
How inspiring is
like,
Neil Lennon?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the club in general over the last few years haven't been fantastic. I mean, Rangers have been on the up, and Celtic just seems
Yeah, I
to
think
be...
it got a bit boring, didn't it, to be honest? Probably.
Yeah.
A bit like Juventus. They've kind of hit the same spell.
But Marseille, you mentioned last year, they had a horrific season last year. Particularly in Europe, they were horrific. Was it the other way round?
No, Marseille...
They good in Europe, but crap in the league.
I think it was...
One of the two.
Either way, they've had a bit of a dodgy time with the board and stuff as well, haven't they? It's a bit right... like.
Yeah.
I think Jordan did a tweet to say we've got history with Marseille, and I'm excited about the CV that of the players they've given us.
Gomez.
It could be another one.
Two IU boys, Gomes, and now Ncham. At the end of the day, like what we got to look at he's a free transfer. It's risk free. Let's just give it a go. And he's got pedigrees. How was he? 25. He's got Champions League experience, Europa League experience. He's clearly got something about him. Otherwise, I mean, Celtic are a champion. Well, they were a Champions League team. They wouldn't have brought him in and played him in the Champions League if he didn't have a bit about him. He's got something about him.
Yeah.
Also, I mentioned Celtic have been like a bit depressing recently, but like their recruitment, like Van Dijk, who else have they? They've had like that's David Turnbull plays for now. He's decent. There's what's his name? The centre
right
back gone to
Arsenal, or the left back from Arsenal.
Tierney.
Yeah.
They've got the fellow who went to Brentford. Is it like Ajeti or something like that? The Ajer. The centre back. They got decent recruitment, so they're no mugs in terms of signing players.
Oh yeah.
Just because it didn't work out from there, it doesn't mean it's not going to work out from here. I mean, look at Wayne Routledge, just retired.
Yeah.
Went years and years of just not being able to find a club. Everybody written him off. Came to little old Swansea, and he's a club legend. You know.
Yeah.
I think
Same thing with Scott Sinclair, really, wasn't it? Yeah.
You could definitely give some in this and Sham. I think. Well, I mean, he's been I think when the free transfer signs, like, you could pick your club in a way. Your agent's got to do a decent job, and the club's got to be interested. But you've probably got more people offering you a contract, and you've got a bit more time to decide it than if someone's coming in for a transfer. And he could have still signed for a club after the debt. Like, you know, he didn't have to make a decision.
Yeah, so he could have just waited, couldn't he?
Yeah.
If he didn't want to be
I don't know how
here.
reliable it is, but I heard Wolves were interested. So if we've got him ahead of that,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Probably
don't know
started
how
for us and
reliable
as a
it
squad
is.
player for Wolves, and that could have played a part.
Yeah.
But like you said about the Champions League thing and Celtic, like Celtic fans and other people like to always weigh in on the debate. Celtic and Rangers, are they good enough for a Prem? Would they fit into the Prem? They all seem to think they would, and a lot of them seem to think they challenge for Europe spots.
No comment.
So if he's in that squad, I'm not saying my opinions on that either. I'm just saying Celtic fans like to think that's where they would be, top half of Prem, yeah? So if he's in that squad and that's where they think they are, then he could, he should be fine in the Championship.
Wolves weren't the only Premier League side interested in him as well.
Really?
There's 4 teams on the top of my head. I did a little bit of research on this Encham guy. I didn't know a lot about him, and that was Wolves, Newcastle. They were the 2 I could find, and then there was Mallorca and Athens, AEK Athens.
They're in like Champions League, and they or Europa League.
Yeah,
they're always in Europe. Yeah, and this is the thing. It's like when you look at the 3 deadline day signings we made, 2 have got Champions League experience, and 1 has got Premier League experience.
Yeah.
You can't say fair at that. Like, it's Swansea City signing those sorts of players. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a little bit of a quick fire to look at the other guys then. So there was just Pirro, Kyle Joseph from what we saw of him, Liam Walsh, Flynn Downs, Laird and Patterson, who all came in before. Out of those guys, and you don't have to go into detail about all of them, but seen anything specifically that excites you, that you're looking forward to? Like myself, I think I'll just start with one I don't think anyone else is going to maybe speak about so much, but I thought Kyle Joseph, I know he's not going to play this season, I thought he had such a good game against Plymouth the other day. I don't know if anyone else went down to that.
Yeah.
He played a wing back. He's a striker and he played a wing back, which I was a bit confused there when I saw the team sheet and saw him lining up there, I'll be honest. But he put such a shift in over there. He was causing carnage when he was going forward with the ball. And he was putting big tackles in. I just didn't expect... I'm not saying he was man of the match or anything. I just thought, like, for someone playing out of position who's just joined the club at that age, you didn't look out of place to be a wing back. And he's not that. So I think he's got good potential going forward. And then Jordan made the point about Pirro, definitely a good start with his goal scoring. Led looks good, someone that can take a man on, go for a run. Downs looked tidy in midfield, was concerned he might have been replacement for Grimes. Now it'd be nice to see how they can work together, and the midfield is going to be battle to see who actually plays. I feel a bit Corey Smith might be missing out, but another conversation for another time. And I can't say anything about Walsh. Patterson as well, sorry. He's it looks like he trusts Patterson, didn't he? I think the manager. So I think he's going to be a solid squad player. Patterson. He looks like he can do a good job. I don't think he's going to like have fireworks all the time, but I don't think he's going to do a bad job. Bit like Wayne Routledge, I guess, but different format. So out of all them players, I just want to hear what you think. Maybe about not all of them necessarily, but 1 or 2. Any that excite you specifically.
I mean, I'll go first if you want.
Yeah,
I'm already in love with Joel Piroux.
Yeah.
What a boy. What a boy. He just, every time he gets the ball, he looks like he's going to make something happen. And I think we've missed that sort of a player. yeah, okay, you could say with Ayew last season, every time he got the ball, he tried to make things happen. But Piroe just looks like he's electric. He looks fresh. He looks pretty deadly every time he gets the ball, you know. And that for me is interesting. I like a player like that.
People have been talking about Michu comparisons. What do you make of that?
Yeah, similar, very similar. You know, when I watched the Bristol City game and that run, shot, and then shot back off the post that he did, that really reminded me of Michu, because it was get the ball right. Where can I go? Have a shot. If it doesn't go in, I'm going to be there for the rebound. You know, and that's a really good attitude to see from somebody who's so young as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing like how him, Obafemi, Cullen, Patterson, Dander, all those attacking players are going to gel together, because it's just interesting to have that sort of player in our team again.
Yeah.
I don't know how the other boys feel about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's like what you said. Like he always feel like he's going to do something, and yeah, Ayew was like that, like you said. But I mean, everyone knew what Ayew was going to do, wasn't? Like, he was on the right.
It's like the championship Iron Robin.
Yeah, everybody knew. Everybody knew, and it might get to a stage where all the opposition teams just pin like two players on Piroe. That might happen, but that happened with Ayew. Like there was no room for him, and he sort of had to do everything on his own a little bit. Whereas I feel like with Piroe, there's like he's still new, element of surprise a little bit. He could come in clutch this season. I really do. I'm really liking Flynn Downs. I'm really liking him.
I agree.
When he played against, it was his debut against Sheffield United at 0-0.
So, yeah. Some big tackles there.
Man, he worked his socks off, and I just love a player like that. That's why I love Jay Fulton though, because I think he just runs he just run after the ball.
Yeah, I feel like Downs is a cross between Grimes and Fulton, which is a bit of a weird thing, but
yeah. Desire and passing ability, which is again something we were crying out for, you know.
Yeah, but apparently Russell Martin was interested in him at MK Dons.
Yeah, well, he had a bit of throwing your toys out of the pram season at Ipswich last year. I was talking to Benjamin Bloom about it a little bit, because he's an Ipswich fan, and he said like he didn't have a bad word to say about him. He just said like there was some sort of falling out. He's a really good player. He was really good for him. I think there was Premier League interest from Palace. I think.
Yeah.
That didn't never materialise, or it was blocked, or for whatever reason, and because of that, he kind of like had a bit of a sulk on. Didn't really have a good season last year because of Ed wasn't there, and then got sent to play with the like youth team. So we've kind of picked him up because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Palace interest. You must be having something about him if he was interested in the Prem.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything then, Jord, for you?
Don't really have to go into detail about Piroe. I think he's going to be a main man this season, isn't he? Flynn Downs, he does look like a cross between Fulton and Grimes. He's got a bit of bite about him, which I love in a midfielder. Someone who's willing to do the dirty work like Fulton, but he's also got a neat and tidy play to his game like Grimes has. And someone that's got like a little bit of everything. And we managed to pick him up on a sheep as well. And exactly like how you said, if he was linked to like Crystal Palace, obviously a Premier League club, he's definitely got something about him.
Yeah.
But my favourite still is going to be that Rhys Williams. I'm excited to see him. Very excited to see him. I think he's going to be a very good loan this season.
It's always not expected. Maybe a centre back would be the favourite signing, but it's interesting. You obviously highly rate him, and looking forward to hopefully he can stabilise that defence. I guess the question is who plays alongside him.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at all over the pitch now, obviously I wouldn't say we're stacked everywhere, but centre backs is definitely one of those areas in centre midfield. Like if a few examples, Downs and Grimes, and then you look at the alternatives, it's Fulton and Smith. There's plenty everywhere. So I don't know who plays next to Williams. I mean, you could have Cabango, you could have Norton, Libodia, Bennett. There's so many boys that you could pick from. But I think Williams is just going to give that something different. Like Gurhey last season, I'd go as far as saying there wasn't a better player in our side that could pass a ball that well. It was almost like an Ashley Williams again, who could find a pass. He could ping a 50-yard play, simple. And watching Rhys Williams last season, obviously watching Liverpool, I'm not a Liverpool supporter, but like obviously you just watch like general Premier League football, and like was injured. I'm not. Williams is obviously better than Van Dijk. He's not. He's far from it. But he didn't do a bad job in filling in for Van Dijk while Van Dijk was covering. So I'm surprised we've managed to get him, and I think he's definitely going to, I want to say, fill that Mark Gurhey role. That's going to be very difficult to do, but I think he will stabilise that backline a little bit better. And I think, again, it'll give that support for Bender, that security net as well.
Well, Liverpool last season...
Like 19.
Liverpool last season...
Oh,
go on.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, he got games for Liverpool last season. They signed that guy from Preston. Was it Ben Davis?
Yeah.
He didn't get a game. So, and he was like their star defender, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, what was you going to say there, Sam?
I was just saying, like, is he like 19? I think he is, or something.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of people might say, like, you know, you're using a 19-year-old to like stabilise your defence. One, we've done it with Mark Gurhey. Two, he's trained for like a couple of years now with like Van Dijk, Matip, even like the likes of Fabinho, like Klopp. He's trained with Klopp for 2-3 years probably prior to being that. Well, probably 18 months to 2 years. Probably he's trained there. But, I mean, that kind of thing just does rub off. And you mentioned last night, Luke, that like Cabango has like struggled a bit, adapting to the play. I think once he's got someone who's settled and is a ball playing centre back next to him, I think he'll just you know, go like we didn't know. I know we didn't play passing football last year, but like with Gurhey next to him, he just looked so comfortable and he looked like a great centre back. And I think it'll happen again. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The one thing I don't fans, because our fans are. I can be like this sometimes. I think we all can be. Sometimes we do get a little bit impatient if we see a new player, let's say, who has 2 games and he's bad.
Yeah.
When Mark Gurhey came in, he was bad for like 3-4 games. You know, he was bad for a period of time. So for me, I've definitely learned my lesson because I was writing off Gurhey. I wrote him off.
Do we have to keep him for another season? Can't we just send him back?
Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. So I think if we're patient with these signings and just support the side, support what Martin is wanting to do, it'll all gel. Like I said, it's not an overnight fix, but these players that he's brought in, they look a very good fit, like for what Martin is wanting to do. And to be honest, like Encham on a free, it's risk free. Obviously, Williams on loan, I was very surprised by that. P Rose like just 1 million, or just over 1 million.
Yeah.
From that bracket, like 1.5 million. We've done good business, so just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it, the better I feel about it as well. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. On transfer deadline day, it's like it hurts Roberts and Lowe's gone, they were first team players. But as I did earlier when I read out the names, it's only the loans which we knew would go in, Uzai which we knew was going. It doesn't look that bad when you compare it to then everyone that's come in. So, and I know people are disappointed in Fosu, but we never had him. It's just a loan signing that didn't come off. So I'm not too bothered really myself.
It's one of those things, isn't it? If you said to me we didn't sign a number 10, I'd be like, right, I'm a bit gutted. But if you said to me we didn't sign a number 10 because it meant keeping Matt Grimes, just like, all right, that's fine. That's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, we signed Patterson and we signed Nsham, so I guess I don't know whether does he want a number 10 because he's not played Dander that much.
No.
I don't know. Again, I to be honest, even if I wanted a number 10, I'm not sure I'd play Jan Dander.
He had a decent game in the cup, didn't he, against Reading? I think he was man of the match.
He's either absolutely amazing or there's no in between. I don't know. I'm very 50-50 on him. I don't dislike him. You know, he comes across as a decent guy. Do you know what I mean? He always puts a shift in, but I don't know whether Martin's going to really like him.
I'm surprised he hasn't gone out on loan or something. But I think he's a player that needs you need to give him 10 games, a bit of faith.
Yeah, I think so.
And also,
just to see what he can offer. I'm not saying I want to give him 10 games, but that's where I think that's what he needs to show what he can offer at this point. Because
he can be that player off the bench, though.
Yeah, he can definitely be that. Yeah,
he just never seems to get that trust.
Yeah, the one thing that's interested me from watching a couple of the games this season is that actually Liam Cullen seems to be playing a bit further back than the striker. So I don't know whether Russell Martin is looking at him and training to think maybe I can make him into more of a 10. Maybe he can be that player in between, you know. And it does look like that from some of the games he's played. But
been a winger before, though, wasn't he, Cullen?
What's that, sorry?
Cullen was a winger in the youth team, winger/striker. So he's definitely played
so a bit more
before.
Yeah, it's a bit more useful. He's a bit more used to it. Yeah, but patience with him is definitely needed as well. Like, I see a lot of people having a go at like the academy kids, and it's like you either want them to come through the academy and get into the first team, or you don't.
Yeah,
you know?
That's the one though. The people have been saying is that Cullen's actually older than Pirou and Obafemi, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, he might be older, but doesn't mean he's necessarily had the same amount of experience or exposure to high quality football. Like, Pirou's come from PSV, yeah, so like he's probably trained with the first team out there a bit, and the Champions League potentially, or Europa League team. So,
well, Pirou's been trained by Ruud van Nistelrooy, hasn't he? And he publicly said that. Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit different in there. Like Cullen, for me, I like him. I like the guy, but he's not doing his main source, is he? He's not scoring goals. And me personally, like, it's worked before in the past, like McBurney when he went on loan to Newport, Bristol Rovers, you know, like to the academy. Roberts went to Yeovil. Joe Roden went to Cheltenham. There's boys that I feel need a good run of consistent games in a lower league, so they're ready for this league. I'm not saying Cullen isn't, but he's going to take that a little bit longer to adapt to it, isn't he?
Yeah, I agree. I
personally, on loan, I would have done that. I would have sent him to a League One play football consistently, because now we've got Pirou and Obafemi, but we've also got Whittaker as well. That can play.
We'll see what happens after a couple of games. Maybe he's got the 2 weeks now, international break, you'll see him all training. Maybe the setup of who he thinks is where will change a bit. And one of them might, I think they can still go out on loan for a couple of weeks, I think, to lower league. So it could still happen, I think. And I'm sure we can technically still sign players on loan as well. Like, if we wanted Fosu on loan. Can we not? Loan deadline's like a week later or something?
No idea.
I think so. Football league in there, like a loan window within the football league, and well, I can't think of anyone really that I'd want. Like, at the minute, it would be like from a Premier League side, like a fringe Premier League player or something.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying about Fosu, if that could get reborn, but I wasn't sure if the rule is what the rule is. I thought there was something that you can still do a loan. I don't think it's a full season. I think you can do 3 months.
I heard something along the lines of that, but I'm not sure. But...
Yeah, well, we'll maybe not. We'll have to clarify that one, but
yeah, it might be something. Let's say, for example, we need them in January. Where we're still struggling to create or whatever. Then we can go back and look at them in January. Interesting one.
We never know who else might be on the market then as well, and what the picture's going to look. It could be completely different. So anyway, I think we've been just over an hour there, boys. So I don't want to keep you here all night. I think it's been a really good conversation, and there's so much that we've touched on, but there's also probably so much that we didn't touch on. So just as a final sort of few words, 2 things. Anything else you'd like to add? And then I know you kind of talked about a little bit more about the players that we missed, but out of everyone, who's going to be the most important transfer that we've brought in this season? Just one name, don't need a reason, just the name, and then just anything else that you'd like to add at the end of the video here. So Sam, start with you.
For me, the best signing we've made all summer is keeping Matt Grimes. I'm going to say that one.
Okay.
Forget your Pirou, forget your all that. I think keeping Matt Grimes, I think this is the most important. I think we would have looked a bit lost without him. I think it's steadying the ship, bit of continuity. So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, and anything else that we haven't touched on that you would want to put out there or like to add?
I just can't wait for Whittaker to score a hat-trick against Cardiff.
I can't believe that was the first hat-trick since Scott Sinclair in the playoff final.
I know. I can't believe there's another one coming in the derby in a couple of weeks as well.
Well, I hope that's true, because you might be on out of context championship if Flint scores a hat trick ahead is instead.
Oh no! Watch now, Aidan Flint will score a hat trick against us.
Of headers as well. It'd be like I need a pint after that. Anyway, Jordan, what about you?
Yeah, I think I've made it very clear. I'm going to stand by Rhys Williams. Our most important. Pirou as well. He's I don't want to jinx it, but at the moment he's going to score goals, and I think Obafemi's going to bring something different as well. I think I can see them two working really well. But the most important, Williams. That's what I'm going to go for. We need to double check as well with a name like that. We need to find if he's Welsh somewhere. If you
must have a Welsh.
I don't know why. I was assuming that he was, but is that not? He's not, is he?
I assumed he was Welsh. Rhys Williams, but apparently
I think he is English.
he is English.
I'm sure there'd be
I feel like he would have
that
played for Wales by now. We had Tom Lockyer at the back yesterday. Do you telling me we would have picked Tom Lockyer instead of Rhys Williams?
Is Morel still playing in midfield now? He's dropped down to League
Yeah,
One.
God knows how. Honestly,
I don't understand how he
God
started in the Euros and now he's even in League
I don't know.
One.
We're gonna call up.
He couldn't start for Luton.
I thought my phone would ring before him. Honestly,
Anyway, whatever Rob Page is doing, who knows?
Joey, Rob Page, no, to be honest, mate.
I think Piru as well. I think he's absolutely doing everything we want of him, you know.
Yeah.
And looks like an absolute snip at that price. I also think Flynn Downs is going to be really, really big. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Nchan plays. I've seen a few of his like skills videos and those compilations and stuff that circulate.
Yeah. And
he looks a real player. So hopefully we've got ourselves a real player.
Yeah.
We've had two in the past 2 years from Man City, or past couple of years, in Burst and Selena and Joel Latabodier. If Nchan is going to be anywhere near as good as Selena was under Potter, then I'll be happy.
From City's academy.
Yeah. Nchan was in City's academy before he went to Celtic. So
fair.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's another positive influence on him then, and you'll be able to show his qualities when he gets here. I'm going to agree as well, be a bit standard and say Pirot, and the only reason I'm saying is that we didn't have a striker for so long now. It's just nice to have someone that you think can score a goal. It's hard to predict sometimes last season, like who's going to get a goal, but you've got a go-to man again, and I think that's something that we've missed. So I'm going to say Pirot. But yeah, cheers lads for coming on. I hope you've all enjoyed.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, we'll get us up as soon as possible on YouTube and Spotify. Right. So just a quick shout out for everyone watching before we say goodbye to everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate everyone that does, but it just helps us grow. We want to get to 1,000. That's our goal, basically. I know we're still a little bit off. I think we're heading up to 400 at the moment. But the goal is 1,000. So anyone that's watching, if you get this far, please leave us click the subscribe button. And if you want to get notified of everything, click the bell as well, because you'll get a notification every time we upload a video. And let us know in the comments as well if you agree or disagree with everything we talked about. Call us out if you think we're talking crap, and I'm sure we'd love to hear your views as well. So always nice to read the comments. And on that note, Sam, if you want to go plug yourself again, remind everyone where they can find you. What's your latest episode, all that sort of stuff. That
sounds really rude, that doesn't Luke?
I'd say it sounds painful.
It's all in the mind. So
our Instagram is Send Him Off Podcast, Twitter Send Him Off Pod, and then just Spotify, YouTube, everywhere else. And you can catch our little blog on sendhimoffpodcast.com. I think. Yeah.
And a little bit of a shout out as well to your co-host who's not here today.
Alex, he's abandoned me. It's actually the first time I've done anything without Alex.
Oh, well, you've done fine. You've done very good. I mean, you'll have to be looking over his shoulder now and see if there's anyone coming for his position. I'm joking. Jordan's looking at you.
Yeah. Stuff, Alex.
Yeah, well. Also, as well, you had an episode the other day where you spoke to Lee Trundle. Yeah.
Did, yeah, a little interview with Lee Trundle. So that's up on our YouTube. It's only 2.5 minutes, so it won't take you long to watch. But we just caught him a little charity game, and got his thoughts on Russ Martin, the new season. It was pre-deadline day, so none of that drama's in there. But it's a good little chat. So go give it a little watch.
Yeah, go give that a watch. Jordan, what about you then? I'm not going to say go plug yourself again. So just let.
Yeah,
I've ruined that. You'll never say that again now.
It'll be my name, which is obviously Jordan Webber, and then 96 at the end. If you go onto my profile on Twitter, you'll see Swans Cast Media and Send Him Off Pod in there as well in my bio, so be sure to give those guys a follow as well.
What a legend.
Are you not plugging your OnlyFans tonight?
Here we go again. You thought you got away with one there, but you brought it back up.
No, content's a bit rough for the minute, so I'm sleepy at the moment.
Well, they were banning it all the other day when they OnlyFans. They were banning all that sort of stuff. So I think it might be. I think they might have reversed their decision, but I'm not sure. Jordan will tell us, I'm sure.
Yeah, Jordan.
There's no comment from me, boys. There's no comment.
Full disclosure, he hasn't got an OnlyFans, so don't even try and look.
Okay.
Only for us, anyway.
You wait. I'll jump back on the podcast next time, and there'll be one there. I'll be plugging
Look,
it.
if you have got an OnlyFans by the next podcast, you just need to bring all of your subscribers to make them viewers of both of our podcasts, and we'll be happy.
I'll do it. I'll do my best.
And Joey, if you want to remind everyone where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the servers are going to get overloaded then with all the women of Swansea going on to OnlyFans. So glad you said that was a fake.
Enjoy. You started off with right. Okay, so my OnlyFans is, and
You've
then
been googling
it. Yeah, so my Twitter is Joey is Swansea. You'll find me on there, and you'll find me in most Swansea conversations on Twitter because I do tend to stick my foot in it quite a bit. So
that's all good.
Yeah,
that's what we all love, though, isn't it? A little bit of a debate and discussion, especially on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a fun place sometimes. The last thing, then, also I didn't mention, but get on FanHub. We have got a code. I usually tweet it out. It might be in the description of this video if the usage hasn't run out. But the only reason I'm saying this now, I'm not going to plug what the app actually is, but it does give you a few things to do as a fan of football, and every month there's a league table for your club, and if you finish in the top 3 you get a free pair of tickets, so it's worth joining for free to even just try and get involved and try and win those tickets. I'll be honest, I got a bit lucky this month and I was in there, guys, so I'm getting a free pair of tickets, so just go try and knock me out. Go try and knock me out, innit? That's what it's all about. We all get in there, get the scores up and try and knock each other out there. I'll be gutted if you do, but give it your best shot. Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. I shall see you all again soon, I'm very sure. Hope you have a lovely evening the rest of the week, and catch you later.
Yes.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, to click the like button to help us grow. To keep up to date with all of our new uploads, hit the subscribe button and push the bell to ensure you are notified of all of our new videos. As always, engage in the comments and let us know your opinions on what we discussed today. And if you want to support us directly, check out our new merch where you can find some awesome Swansea related t-shirts.